The truth about Florida's property tax repeal. Florida's House of Representatives just voted to kill property taxes. I'm sure you heard about it, right? A proposal that could wipe out a massive chunk of your tax bill just took a giant leap forward, and the headlines are screaming victory. But what if the real story isn't about saving you money, but about shifting the bill somewhere you won't see it coming? This isn't a simple tax cut. It's a seismic shift in how Florida pays its bills. And the aftershocks could leave a lot of people, maybe even you, worse off. Think of the government's budget like a water balloon. You can squeeze one side, but the water just bulges out on the other. As we all should know, governments don't just eliminate costs, they just simply relocate them. And you need to understand where that money is going to come from next. So, before you start planning a vacation with those tax savings, let's break down what this proposal actually means for your wallet, who the real winners and losers are, and why this might be the most misleading political promise of the year. Here's what happened. On February 20th, 2026, the Florida House passed House Joint Resolution 203, or HJR 203. They passed with an 80-30 vote. The goal is to put an amendment on the November 2026 ballot that will completely eliminate all non-school property taxes for primary homesteaded residences. But here's the first and most important reality check. This is not a law. For this to show up on your ballot, it has to go through the Florida Senate with a 60% supermajority. And right now, the Senate is a brick wall. House Speaker Daniel Perez dared the Senate to make a move, saying the House is open to any of the Senate's ideas, provided those ideas ever materialize as actions. And what's the Senate saying? The complete opposite. Key senators are slamming on the brakes. Senator Ed Hooper, a powerful committee chairman, has flat out said the Senate's version won't be as generous. He's worried about the impact on Florida's 67 counties, especially the smaller rural ones that will be financially devastated. Even Governor DeSantis is tapping the brakes, posting that when it comes to a ballot proposal, it's better to do it right than to do it quick. He's even hinted at a special session later, admitting that getting this done now is simply a long shot. So, the version of the bill that has everyone excited is likely dead on arrival in the Senate. But that's just problem number one. The bigger problem is a number, nearly $15 billion. State analysts estimate that the proposal would yank about $14.7 billion straight out of the local government's budgets every single year. So to put that in layman's terms, that's the money for roads, parks, libraries, and a huge chunk of your police and fire departments. Taking that away is like siphoning all the fuel from the city's car and still expecting it to run. That money has to be replaced, and how it gets replaced is where things get messy. This is a political battlefield, and things are changing fast. The proposal that passed in the House is already stalled in the Senate, and new versions could pop up at any moment. If you want to stay on top of every development and understand how it affects your money, make sure you subscribe with the notifications turned on. Don't miss an update. And also, if you're looking to buy, sell, and invest here in the Brevard County area, feel free to click the link in the description below to book a call with yours truly. Treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. Let's be clear about what HJR 203 does and does not do. First, this proposal does not eliminate all property taxes. You will still pay the part of your bill that funds schools, which for many homeowners is 40% or more. So guess what? Your bill isn't going to zero. I hate to break the news to you. Second, this only applies to your homesteaded property, which is your primary legal residence. It does absolutely nothing for second homes, vacation rentals, or even commercial real estate. Third, the version that passed the House was amended to be an immediate radical change. The original plan was a slow 10-year phase out, but the new version scraps that. If it passes in November, non-school property taxes for homesteads would all be gone starting January 1st of 2027. And it's not a gradual slope, it's a fiscal cliff. And get this, here's a bizarre twist right in the bill. It prohibits local governments from cutting funding for law enforcement and even first responders. Think about that. The bill takes away the main funding source for these services, property taxes, while making it illegal to cut their budgets. To build a picture around this, it's like ordering a chef to cook a 5-course meal while simultaneously locking the pantry and hiding all the ingredients. It's a setup that forces cities and counties into a corner to find the money somewhere else, and fast. To recap, it's not all property taxes. It's only for your primary home, and it creates a massive immediate funding crisis for local services that it also claims to protect. The solution to that paradox is where the pain begins for many Floridians. So, how do you fill a multi-billion-dollar hole in the budget? Politicians will tell you they'll cut government waste, but let's be real. No government has ever cut nearly $15 billion in waste without gutting essential services. It's simply a fantasy. The real answer comes in other forms, and they'll hit your wallet from a different direction. One scenario, analyzed by nonpartisan research groups, it involves a massive hike in Florida's sales tax. For example, the Florida Policy Institute calculated that to fully replace the lost property tax revenue, the state's 6% sales tax might need to jump as high as 12%. An analysis like that shows what it would take to fill the gap. Let's be real, a 12% sales tax will give Florida the highest state sales tax rate in the nation. Think about it, everything you buy, from coffee to a new car, will suddenly get a lot more expensive. This kind of tax hits lower and middle income families the hardest. Think of it as a flat covered charge to enter a restaurant. For a millionaire, it's nothing. But for a family on a budget, that fee might be why they can't afford to eat there at all. Other ideas have been floated, like new taxes on property transactions, but those aren't part of the main proposal. The point is, there's no magic wand. The government will get its money one way or another. The only question is, from which of your pockets are they gonna take it from? Feeling confused about whether you're a winner or a loser here? The answer depends entirely on your personal situation, your home value, your income, whether you rent or own, and also your spending habits. It's easy to get lost in the political noise. That's why I'm here to help. If you want a clear, personalized breakdown of what this proposal really means for you, click the link in the description below to book a one-on-one strategy call with yours truly. We'll run your numbers and show you the real-world financial impact so you can plan for what's coming. This is your biggest asset and your family's financial future. Book that call. Treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. When you cut through the political noise, it's pretty clear who benefits and who's left holding the bag. The clearest winners are the long-term, full-time Florida homeowners, especially those on a fixed income or with a paid-off mortgage. If you've owned your home for years and don't plan on moving, you get the direct benefit of a lower property tax bill. This is the group the proposal's aimed at, and for them, the short-term math looks great. But the losers, unfortunately, this list is much longer. First up, you have your renters. They make up a huge part of Florida's population, and they also get zero benefit from a homesteaded property tax cut, but they will be forced to pay any higher sales tax on every purchase they make. Plus, any new or remaining taxes on their apartment building will for sure be passed on to them as higher rent. Next are home buyers and anyone looking to move. They might walk into a market where savings from property tax cuts are offset by other new costs or fees designed to make up the revenue. Then there are your small businesses. They obviously don't get a homestead exemption. They will continue to pay their property taxes and also have to deal with the economic hit from any new taxes that might depress consumer spending. And finally, there's every single resident who relies on local services. I don't know if you remember what I said earlier, but do you remember the paradox from the police and the fire funding? That money has to come from somewhere, and that means other services are on the chopping block. Think road maintenance, parks, and libraries are all at risk. A county official from Hillsborough warned that this could affect everything from getting your pothole filled to getting new roads altogether. It's like getting a huge discount on a car only to discover the engine is sold separately. You might save on your tax bill, but find yourself driving on a crumbling street. This isn't a simple win to the average Floridian. It's a massive wealth transfer from consumers, renters, and new buyers to established homeowners alike. With all these red flags, what are the actual chances of this happening? The proposal has to survive a political gauntlet, and failure at any stage kills it. So step one, House passage. That's done. The House passed it 80-30, and that was the easy part. Now we move to step two, which is the Senate's approval. This is a big one. It needs a 3/5 supermajority in the Senate, which is 24 out of 40 senators. And as we've seen, the Senate has zero interest in the House's aggressive plan. The legislative session ends around March 13th, and that doesn't leave much time. And step three, reconciliation and the ballot. If the Senate passes a different, weaker version, the House and the Senate have to agree on a single final text. If they can't agree, the whole thing dies out. If they do agree, only then is it placed on the November ballot. Step four is voters' approval, and that's the final hurdle. The amendment has to be approved by 60% of the Florida's voters, and that's an incredibly high bar in a state as politically diverse as Florida, and many popular initiatives fail to reach it. So the path forward is treacherous, and anyone telling you this is a done deal is not giving you the whole story. So, what is the truth about Florida's property tax repeal? I gotta break the news to you. It's not a repeal, it's just simply a relocation. It's not a tax cut for the state, it's a tax shift onto consumers, renters, and future homeowners. The promise of wiping out your property tax bill is a powerful headline, but the reality is a shell game. You might get your money back on your property tax bill only to pay it all back and then some through other taxes. You might celebrate the savings, only to find out your local library has to cut its hours or your roads are falling apart. The version of this plan that passes the House is almost certainly not the version that will survive the Senate. And even if a compromise makes it to the ballot, it faces a steep uphill battle to get a 60% vote. This isn't about making Florida more affordable across the board. It's about changing who pays the bills. The celebration is absolutely premature. Don't fall for the hype. And as we know, just like in real estate, the real story is always in the fine print. And for the vast majority of Floridians, the fine print says you're gonna have to pay one way or another. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to stay ahead of the curve on issues affecting your finances, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. Listen, the situation is changing daily, and we'll be here to give you the straight fact. And I'm serious. If you're a Florida homeowner, renter, or investor trying to figure out how this chaos affects you, listen, do yourself a favor, don't guess. Click that link in the description below to book a free strategy call with yours truly. Let's protect your financial future together. Treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.